Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bold and Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Amanda, and I gave this week's episode a very fitting title, A Secret Baby. If you don't get it, you will soon enough. I wanted to mention to you guys that I am fully aware that the music I've been using for the past couple of weeks is very sad. It is actually Chopin's Death March. I chose that because it fits my mood for this storyline and because the show has been very dark lately. I'm going to keep this music until the storyline changes or my mood changes. I don't know which one's going to happen first. We'll see. I am positive that you've already figured this out, but in case you haven't, I do not like the storyline at all. Not one bit. I hate it. I don't know what else to say. That's it. I think it's ridiculous. Okay, guys, let's move on before I go off on a 20-minute rant about the best storyline. I do not have any news this week. I didn't see anything important. But I would like to tell you guys about another podcast that you should definitely check out. It is called The Bold and Beautiful Rewind. It is hosted by James Lott Jr. And fun fact, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it's a fact. This podcast would not exist if it wasn't for James Lott Jr. So I definitely want you guys to go check out his podcast. It's about 5 minutes long every week, and he covers like the main topics, and it's always very funny and informative, and I just love him as a host. He's a great host, and I hope to one day have him on the podcast. So make sure you check that out. It's called The Bold and Beautiful Rewind. Okay, guys, enough with the chit chat. Let's get to the recap. Monday, January the 14th. The show actually opens at Reese's apartment, but we are going to start out with Hope and Brooke at the cabin. Don't worry, we're going to circle back to Reese's apartment. So, over at the cabin with Hope and Brooke, poor Hope is falling apart. And Brooke lets Hope know that she can handle this because she's a strong person, but that she can't handle this all by herself on her own. She has to let people in. So Brooke suggests a support group. And she also wanted to tell Hope not to let this come between her and Liam, because that would just be a tragedy on a tragedy, basically, like a tragedy stacked on a tragedy. Hope is still having this weird feeling that Beth is not really gone, and I'm convinced it's a mother's intuition. Hope desperately wants to find some kind of spiritual connection to Beth, just to know that she is okay. I personally can totally relate to this. After my mother passed away, I was the same way. I was a wreck. I was angry. I know it's not the same as losing a kid, but I was in a lot of pain, and I went to every psychic medium that came to my town, because where I live we have casinos. So I went to every one, and I would have went to every single show for the rest of my life if I had to. But believe it or not, I went and seen Tyler Henry, and my mom was there, and I actually got called up because my mom was there. It was an amazing experience. I love Tyler Henry, and there was no way that he would know the things that he knew. It was amazing. I know that was my mom. And so that helped me get some sort of closure, because I was not there when my mom passed away. I was on my way, but I didn't make it. So I can relate to her, to how Hope is feeling, of just wanting some kind of connection. I can only imagine it would be way worse if it was your child that you lost. Brooke is being such a good, caring mother. She is really being Hope's rock. And she assures Hope that Beth already knows how much Hope and Liam love her and miss her. Now we head over to Steffi's house with Liam and Steffi. Liam has stopped by because he really needs to see Kelly. He feels bad about leaving Hope. He feels guilty. But Hope insisted that he needed to get out of the house, so that's what he did. And Steffi obviously feels horrible for him because he's just so sad. And Liam feels like he doesn't know how to help Hope, but he desperately wishes that there's something he could do to help her or to take her pain away even for a minute. And he feels even guilty because he can go to Steffi's and hold Kelly, his little girl, and feel at least a little bit better. But Hope doesn't have that option. So Liam asks Steffi if she is still considering adoption. We find out that she's still thinking about adopting. She even met with an agency to get all the details to see what was all involved. But she hasn't fully made up her mind yet. And then Kelly wakes up and Liam holds her for a little while and just loves on her. It was so sad to watch because he started crying and he was telling Kelly about Beth. It was a very sweet moment. They were both crying, Steffi and Liam. And so was I, I'm not going to lie, because it's just very, 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 very sad. Now it is time to circle back. Now we head to Reese's apartment with Taylor and Reese and Florence. Reese calls her Flo. Taylor wants answers. Why in the hell does Reese have a baby hidden in his bedroom? And then Florence comes out of Reese's bedroom and she tells Taylor that the baby is hers. So Florence explains that she is a dealer at a casino in Vegas and that Dr. Buckingham is helping her find a good home for her baby. And she really lays it on thick. She goes on and on about how wonderful Reese is and how he helped her so much with everything. And he's such an awesome guy. And then we learn that the baby's father left Florence and took off. At least this is their story. And that she does not have the money to raise the baby. So then Reese informs Taylor that Steffi could adopt this baby. No problem, in a private adoption. Taylor is really caught off guard and taken aback. She's not sure what to think. So Taylor does agree to talk to Steffi about the baby, but she does say that she cannot make any promises because the timing is not great, and she doesn't know if Steffi's even ready to adopt yet. And that's how Monday ends. So that brings us into Tuesday, January the 15th. The show opens at Reese's apartment with Taylor, Reese, and Florence. Reese and Florence are really pushing this baby on Taylor. And Reese is saying that the big things in life are always unexpected. But again, Taylor tells them that she will have to talk to Steffi, but she doesn't know if Steffi's ready, so she can't promise anything. Then Reese leaves and goes into the bedroom to put the baby down. And Taylor questions Florence again about how she found Reese and basically her background. So Florence explains that she wanted a quick adoption, so the agency suggested private adoption. And then they put her in touch with Reese. Taylor looks a little suspicious, but after Florence explains everything, Taylor tells her that she is a very brave woman for putting her baby up for adoption. So Taylor thinks, wow, this lady's really sweet. And so Taylor leaves. And Reese comes back out into the living room. And that's when we find out the truth. This whole thing was all an act. Florence, who actually goes by the name Flo, asked Reese how she did. And he says, "Oh, you did great. But keep it simple. The more you say, the greater chance that we will get caught." So Florence wants Reese to tell her the truth. She wants to know the whole story and why she is lying for him. And I definitely get the feeling that Flo likes Reese romantically. So, of course, Reese won't tell her the full truth. And Flo asked if he is in any trouble. And I'm thinking, duh. Of course, Reese tells her that he's not in trouble. He is just trying to help someone out. And then Reese gets another call from Vegas guy, letting him know that his time is up. And Reese assures Vegas that he will have the money. No problem. Now, this Flo has me curious. What kind of person would lie for someone, especially about a baby, like being a baby's mother? I don't know about this lady. I think she just is really into Reese and wants him, to be honest. Over at Forrester Creations in the showroom was Zoe and Xander. Zoe and Xander are happy and in love, and Xander tells Zoe after meeting her father, he understands her more. And he also understands what went wrong in their relationship in London. Xander does say that he's happy that Zoe is reconnecting with her dad, but we all know that's because he doesn't know really what kind of person Reese is. Zoe asks Xander his opinion on how to give her dad money without offending him. And Xander really has no clue. He doesn't have any good ideas, but her question really touches him. The fact that Zoe is so worried about her dad and how much she wants to help him, it just shows Xander how big her heart really is. And then they kiss. Now we head over to Steffi's house, and Taylor arrives home and she tells Steffi about Flo and the baby. She explains everything to Steffi, but she does leave out Reese's involvement because he asked her to leave him out of it, especially because of everything that's going on with Hope and Liam, but also because it's a private adoption. And I'm thinking, seriously, Taylor, this doesn't seem suspicious to you? If he's so worried about helping this baby, wouldn't he want to be involved? This is so suspicious. Anyway, so all Steffi knows is that one of Taylor's colleagues knows the mother and is facilitating the adoption. Steffi is not sure if she is ready to adopt. She feels like the timing is bad, but at the same time, she wants to do it. She's just not really sure. She can't make up her mind. Reese calls Taylor to see if she talked to Steffi yet. And she tells him that she did and that they're talking now. Then she mentions they need more time. And then Reese's facade, right? His perfect doctor facade, it starts to crack a little. So when she tells him we need more time, then he turns all psycho weird on Taylor for a couple seconds. And he gets this really mean voice and he says, "I can't promise you more time." And then, of course, he catches himself and realizes what he's doing, and he apologizes. And he says, oh, he just desperately wants to find the poor baby a home, and he lays it on thick. That he has a feeling that this is just meant to be. This guy is disgusting. I'm sorry. So now Hope has to miss out on precious time with her baby because of him. This is ridiculous. So Taylor and Steffi both talk about Phoebe for a little while. That's Steffi's twin sister. We learn that Steffi has already chosen the baby's name if she does adopt. And of course it's Phoebe. Then Taylor says something that did stand out she says that she had a feeling that this baby was meant to be Kelly's sister. And I'm like screaming at my TV because she is Kelly's sister. Clues, right? They're dropping clues. And that's how Tuesday ends. So that brings us into Wednesday, January the 16th. The show opens at Steffi's house with Taylor and Steffi. Steffi is leaning towards adopting. So Taylor says that they should get all the information that they can from the mother. The one thing that is stopping Steffi is the timing. She is really worried that it would be very insensitive to bring a baby into the family so soon after what happened to Beth. So she can't agree to anything unless Liam is okay with it. Now we head over to Reese's apartment with Reese and Flo. Flo asks why she even needs to do this. Why can't the real mother do this? And then Reese says that the real mother would have scared Taylor off because she is a junkie. Reese keeps checking his phone and acting weird. So Flo is getting more and more suspicious that there is way more to this story. And she wants him to tell her. And of course, he just makes up an excuse that he's worried about his daughter and he tries to blow off her questions. But he assures her that they are doing something good. It's a win-win. The baby gets a home and their bank accounts get bigger. This guy is so disgusting. I'm sorry. Now we head over to the cabin with Liam and Wyatt. Hope is at the big house with Brooke and Donna. And Wyatt stopped by to check on Liam. And Liam really appreciates him being there for him. And Wyatt is usually a good brother. Wyatt really wants to do something for Liam, but he just has no idea what to do. And poor Liam, he's still asking why. Why? Why us? Why Hope? Why Beth? It's so unfair. And I totally agree. Now we head over to Spencer Publications in Bill's office with Bill and Will. Will got Katie and Thorne to drop him off so he could see his dad. And Will made Bill this really cute origami pterodactyl out of a $100 bill. It was really sweet. And I think Will wanted to make sure that Bill was okay because of the whole Beth thing. I think that he kind of wanted to just check on him. But Will tells Bill that he has girl troubles. And then they have a conversation about what's important in life, and they're really bonding now. And it's really nice to see Bill being a good father. I hope it lasts. So Bill tells Will his friends and family should be the most important thing. Then Will says that he wishes they were still a family. And could that ever happen again? To be honest, Bill had a really great life with Katie for a long time. She changed him for the better, that's for sure. I don't think I would be against them getting back together. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I don't think I'd be against it. So Bill is not sure what to say. And Will expresses that he wants the three of them to spend more time together like they used to, because now it feels fake to him. Bill assures him that he will forever link Katie and himself together, and that they are a real family and it's not fake. And then Will, being so adorable, he thanks Bill for being his dad. And then Bill thanks Will for being his son. And it was a really happy, sweet moment this week. And I'm glad we had it because the show has just been so dark lately. So then we see Taylor, and I assume she's in her bedroom. And she calls Reese to tell him that Steffi is interested, but they have logistical questions first. And he says that's not a problem because he knows once Steffi sees the baby, she will fall in love with her. Out in the living room at Steffi's house, Steffi has called Liam over to talk about the adoption. She is conflicted on what to do because she doesn't want to make this worse for Liam and Hope. So Liam shows up and she explains she could adopt a baby and it could be like immediately. So Liam is completely shocked To be honest, this is so sudden and so soon that I don't blame him for being a little taken aback. My personal opinion is that this is very inconsiderate and the timing is wrong. It's almost cruel. It's like Steffi's just going to replace Beth, Kelly's sister, for a different one, like a new sister. So Liam is hesitant and uncomfortable because this is heavy and it's a lot to ask of him. But of course, Liam is always a good guy and he tells Steffi that he's okay with her adopting. And like all of this is not hard enough, then she asked Liam if he would meet the baby with her. And I'm like, really? Really? And in my mind, this is cruel AF. Like, really? But Liam is always such a sweet guy and he agrees to meet the baby with her. And she's happy and they hug and that's how Wednesday ends. So that brings us into Thursday, January the 17th. The show opens at the cabin with Hope and Liam. These scenes are really hard to watch with these two, especially with Hope, because it's just so sad. So Hope is so angry. She's just falling apart. And poor Liam is feeling so helpless. He wants to help her so bad, but he can't. So Liam mentions that Sally and Wyatt want to stop by and visit, but Hope is not really up for company. Liam is trying to talk her into it because he feels it would really be good for her. And he asks her to please not shut everyone out, to please let people in. Now we head over to Forrester Creations in the side office with Wyatt, Sally, and Emma. They are discussing how sad they are about Beth and how they are all so worried about Hope. Wyatt tells Emma about Hope's first miscarriage when they were together and how this is a lot for someone to deal with. So they're all very concerned. And Emma, of course, sends her condolences and her love, and then she leaves. Sally and Wyatt are getting ready to take off to go visit Hope and Liam, and Sally insists on taking separate cars because she has a surprise for Hope and Liam. Now we head over to Bill's office with Bill and Will. And Bill calls Katie and offers to bring Will home. And Katie agrees, so they set that up. And then Will asks Bill what he could do to make Liam feel better. And it's just so adorable. Which, Bill's like, aw, you can see Bill's heart melt. So Bill's advice is for him to just keep being the same caring brother he always is. Now we head over to Katie's house with Katie, Thorne, and Donna. Katie is really happy that Bill is stepping up as a father. And I think Thorne may be a little bit jealous. So Katie and Donna are getting ready for dinner. And Donna and Katie are talking about how they're both really worried about Hope. And they wish that they could do something to make it better. Then there's a knock on the door and Bill and Will arrive home. And Will asks Katie if Bill can stay for dinner. And this catches everyone off guard for sure. There's a couple seconds pause where no one speaks at all. And of course, Katie and Thorne say yes. And so this makes Will super happy. So they all sit down to eat. And Will says grace. And his prayer is so sweet. He asked God to watch over Beth because she didn't get to meet her parents. So she is probably feeling lost. It was just so cute and so thoughtful. It just melted everyone's heart there in the room. Now we head over to the cabin with Hope and Liam. Wyatt arrives and he is so sweet. He just wants to remind Hope that they are there for her, whatever she needs. And Hope says that she gets what he's trying to do, but with all this pain that she's feeling, It seems pointless. Liam gets a text from Brooke to come get dinner for them. So he leaves to go to the main house to get the food, and Wyatt stays with Hope. While Liam's gone, Wyatt and Hope discuss losing their baby. And Wyatt says that he just feels horrible that Hope is going through this again. And of course, Hope is asking why. But there's never a good answer when bad things happen. If only she knew the real reason why. If only she knew. So Sally finally arrives, and she has the cutest little puppy with her. And she is hoping it will cheer Hope up. So Hope is in the bedroom, and Sally knocks on the door and goes in. Sadly, that's not what happened at all. It didn't cheer Hope up. Hope freaked out and went off on Sally. Hope was very offended that Sally thought a damn dog, her words, could replace her daughter. So Hope screaming at her, how could you think that a damn dog would replace my daughter? And it was crazy. And obviously, Hope took the gesture wrong because that's not how Sally meant it. Nothing could replace her Beth. And then she has a complete meltdown and starts sobbing and sobbing. And that's how Thursday ends. And I feel horrible for Sally because she was trying to do a good thing. And so poor Sally is getting very upset. So that brings us into Friday, January the 18th. The show opens at the cabin with Hope, Liam, Wyatt, and Sally. Finally, Liam gets back with the food. And Wyatt is really worried that the puppy might not be a good idea. So he tells Liam all about Sally's idea and that she's in the bedroom now. And he's a little worried about how this might go. Meanwhile, in the bedroom with Hope and Sally, Hope is still freaking out on Sally. And Sally is desperately trying to apologize, and Hope is not having it. And Sally is so upset. Hope is upset. They're both crying. This is not a good situation. So Sally again tries to explain what her intentions were and what she was thinking. But again, Hope is not having it. She just wants Sally to go. She screams at her just to go because she cannot look at that puppy for another second. So, of course, Sally comes out of the bedroom and she's in complete tears. She is sobbing. So Wyatt grabs her and hugs her, and she feels horrible. And Sally tells both of them, Liam and Wyatt, what happened in the room with Hope. And Liam, of course, feels so bad. He wants Sally to know that it's not personal. It's the pain. That's making Hope lash out. Because she's in so much pain, it's not really Hope. He also assures Sally that he knows her intentions were good. Then Liam goes into the bedroom to check on Hope. And Hope is laying down in the bed. She's looking at the sonogram photo. All Liam can do is just hold her. Because at this point, she is inconsolable. And she still doesn't quite get, like, Sally didn't mean it in a bad way. But could you imagine if you went to help someone, you went to try to help someone and then they just totally freak out on you? Like, I just feel bad for Sally. Now we head over to Katie's house with Katie, Donna, Thorne, Bill, and Will. They are all having dinner and they're having fun, just talking. It's a little awkward, but not as much as you would expect. So Will wants Bill to speak at career day at school. And he tries to get out of it, but then he agrees to do it. No problem. So Katie, Will, and Bill, they're laughing and joking and they're having their own little family convo and their little inside jokes and things. And it's obvious that Thorne is feeling left out and maybe even a little jealous. I'm thinking probably a little jealous. And then Katie mentions how much she loves Thorne and how, he helps her with everything around the house. And then Will asks Katie if she still loves Bill too. And she says, of course, I always love your dad. So then Will wants to stay the night at Bill's house, but he has plans with Thorne the next day. So Thorne quickly tells him that they can change their plans. It's no big deal. And Will's all excited and yay, and you can tell Thorne is disappointed and jealous and feeling a little left out. It's obvious, but it's also obvious to Donna because she notices it too. I'm not sure where this storyline's going. I'm not sure if Donna and Thorne are going to end up together eventually, or if Donna and Bill are going to end up together eventually. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. Back at the cabin with Hope, Liam, Wyatt, and Sally, Wyatt is talking to Sally and he's comforting her and he's assuring her that they all know her heart was in the right place and that she knows dogs and puppies can be therapeutic and not to worry about it, that it's not personal. But poor Sally, she's just so upset. She wanted to make things better, not worse. They decide that it's probably best if they just go ahead and take off and leave. And then something very shocking happened that I wasn't expecting. Hope and Liam come back out of the bedroom. And Hope has clearly calmed down. And Liam tells them that he's really glad they didn't leave yet because Hope wants to talk to them, especially Sally. So, surprisingly, Hope apologizes to Sally for her reaction. And she tells her that she is so sorry and that she knows she had good intentions and that she did not mean to go off on her like that. She doesn't even know why she did it. She's very sorry. And I'm like, okay, there's the Hope that we all know and love. So, of course, Sally immediately says there's no need to apologize. And then Sally apologizes for just assuming and not at least asking Liam first. So they both feel bad. They both forgive each other, and it's a really sweet moment. And then they hug it out, and that's how Friday ends. So let's break this down. Reese has a secret baby, who I am now convinced is Beth. Florence arrives in town, and I don't consider her a very good person, because who agrees to do such a thing for someone? What kind of person would agree to pretend to be the mother of a baby? It's just crazy. But it's apparent that she is romantically interested in Reese. But she is getting suspicious because of his strange behavior. And I think eventually she's going to want to know the real truth. So basically, Taylor got manipulated, and Steffi is going to end up adopting the baby, which I really hate. So many people are going to be hurt by this, including Beth, who really needs to bond with her parents. Alright, I'm going to keep going or I'll be on this forever because everyone knows I just don't like this storyline. So Hope is having some strange mother's intuition feelings. And she feels like Beth is not really gone. And honestly, I wanted to scream at my TV. She's not! But of course, they're not going to hear me. So Brooke and Liam are very worried about Hope because she's shutting people out and she's inconsolable at times. Hopefully, it won't be too long before the truth comes out. Like, I hope this is one of the storylines that plays out rather quickly. I hope it's not dragged on for months and months and months. I guess we'll see. Thorne is getting jealous of Bill, and he's feeling very left out. And I'm not sure where this is going yet. I'm just not sure. I have been wondering, though, who they plan to match Donna with. I have been wondering that. So, I don't know. Who knows? Is there trouble in paradise for Katie and Thorne? I'm not sure. I have been wondering who they plan on matching Donna with. That is something I have been curious about. Sally tried to help Hope, and it backfired big time. But in the end, it all worked out. They forgave each other. Hope was very sorry, and they hugged it out. So that brings us to the end of the episode. I do want to sincerely apologize to all of you for the episode being so late. I had a family emergency yesterday, so I just figured y'all would understand, and it's better late than never. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to check out the Bold and Beautiful Rewind podcast. I'll be back in your ears next week. Until then, bye guys.